Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Good evening. Nice to see you. There we go. We're carrying on the legacy of Bruce Forsyth. Rest in peace. Hello, welcome back. In all seriousness, it's nice to see you on this Monday evening for a wee live stream Q&A because it's the start of the international break and also because I was at uni today, which meant I had to drive all the way down to here, all the way back. By the time I was back, it's a wee bit late on for a video. I wouldn't have it up in a reasonable enough time, so I thought, I will go live. It's always a nice laugh, chat, going live. So I thought, why not? Why not? We'll go through and do this tonight. Just have a wee bit of a laugh because it's going to be a quiet 2 weeks as well. It's going to be a really quiet 2 weeks. We all know how an international break feels. It's awful. I'm not looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that there's a lot of behind-the-scenes drama that unveils itself over the past couple of weeks to keep me going, because if not, it's going to be a quiet 2 weeks on the channel as well. Scotland obviously have a couple of games on the international front. We'll take on Spain and Cyprus as well over the course of this international break, but let's be real. I think we're all sitting here waiting, hoping and praying that Celtic will be back as soon as possible, because it's a big couple of weeks when we get back. Going into April, it's a huge month. We're going to have that first derby game on the 8th against Rangers at Celtic Park, a game which could pretty much solidify our league title dreams this season. We're then going to play them again at the end of April in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. So it's going to be a very busy month and we're going to build towards that. So it's good we've got a couple of weeks. Hopefully, touch wood, everybody goes on an international break. They're fine, they're dandy. And aye, nice to see everybody piling in. Hello, thank you very much, Cal. Appreciate it. Hello, Chef Di. Nice to see you. I see my man Ian in there as well. Hello, nice to see a lot of you. What's happening? How am I getting on? I'm okay. I'm tired. Not to lie. I stayed up last night watching the 40-year-old virgin. Story of my life. I'm joking. I stayed up last night to watch that, and I had to wake up to drive to Ayr this morning in an awful tired way. So it's kind of going on. So basically tonight we're going to talk about the Celts that are away on international duty. We're going to talk about another couple of wee stories that have been in and around the media over the past couple of days since our victory on Saturday against Hibs. And then basically I'm just going to sit and chat away to you and get all your points and get everything else. I see somebody talking about the Liverpool game. We'll come on to that as well, maybe. Yeah, I'll try and make the next 2 weeks as entertaining as I possibly can for you without Celtic. Don't put too much faith in me. That's all I'll say. So let's start off. I'll get to you guys, don't you worry. Let's start off with the Celts who are away on international duty. For this international break, they'll be playing for their respective countries. Only one Scottish international representative for us this time round. Of course, Greg Taylor was left out the side. That was the one that I think we were kind of shocked by at first. Then we heard the reasoning. Ange asked Steve Clarke not to take him with him, and he still played at the weekend, right enough, limited minutes. But it's only Cal McGregor who'll be going ahead with the Scottish international duty for this break. He goes representing as captain, of course. Hopefully he sees some minutes. Hopefully comes back fit as well, because he is arguably our most important player. Aside from Cal McGregor heading off to Steve Clarke's training camp, Alistair Johnston, he'll be going to Canada. He's been picked for the Canadian national team. Connor Hazard for Northern Ireland. Carl Starfelt for Sweden. Haksabanovic for Montenegro. Leah Labada has been picked for Israel. Dyson Maeda for Japan. And finally, O has been selected for South Korea. Now, I've not seen official confirmation yet, but I suspect Matt O'Reilly will probably be called to the Danish under-21s team. Not, once again, maybe there has been a confirmation. And also, just an interesting note, our lone players, Mikey Johnston, keep in mind, he'll be called up to the Irish national team for the first time in this international break. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in an international break for the Republic of Ireland. So best of luck to him. But that's all the players who will be heading off on international duty. I think the big story and the big talk that everybody was getting on the backs of was the Japanese national manager who didn't select Ryo Hatate nor Kyogo Furuhashi. All I can say to that is thank you. I love it. Keep holding grudges or being stubborn, whatever your reasoning will be. Now, there was an article that was published in the media in regards to why he left them out, and apparently the reason was getting dubbed as because the league that they play in, which makes no sense because Dyson Maeda plays in the same league. I think he is just a stubborn coach, just like a lot of international coaches. You know what Steve Clarke's like, for example? He's got his favourites. He picks his same guys over and over again. And it happens for a lot of international teams. I think it's a case of that with the Japanese boss. But listen, I'm all for it. I personally don't care. Let's leave the boys who are key to this team, as many of them as possible, here with Celtic. Let's leave them at Lennoxtown so they're not away playing getting hurt. Yes, Kyogo, let's just put him in bubble wrap for the next couple of weeks. Same with Ryo Hatate. Obviously, Ryo Hatate, if he was selected, might have got left out anyway because he got picked up an injury at the weekend. He went off early against Hibs. He didn't finish the game. He might have dropped out nonetheless, but he wasn't picked. Neither was Cameron Carter-Vickers. Cameron Carter-Vickers has not been picked for the American national team. That one I'm truly baffled by. Now, I know he didn't see a lot of minutes at the World Cup, but when he did, it was a big part of a positive result for them. Didn't concede, did they, when he played at the World Cup? He's been unbelievable. He's getting talked about, being looked at from English sides. You'd think he's a surefire to get into the American national team. He isn't in the American national team. He didn't get picked. So him, Ryo Hatate and Kyogo, maybe 3 shocks for Celtic fans that didn't get called up to their international services. But once again, I don't care. If they're sitting here and they're fit come April the 8th to play against Rangers, I couldn't care who's picked and who's not, in all honesty. So, yeah, that's pretty much the rundown of players who have been picked. Obviously, some very key players in there. So, we're hoping CCV is injured, is he? He was playing at weekend. Is he not? He's not injured, is he? I've never heard of it myself. So yeah, gets a rest, I suppose. Yeah, Cameron Carter-Vickers has been playing a lot of football, so it's good to see him get a rest. I'm not fussed about that. So obviously, eyes on Scotland for most of us. I know I'll have viewers here from all over Ireland, Australia, America, Japan, whatever. So best of luck to everyone, I suppose. But in terms of me and the majority of my viewers, we'll be watching Scotland. And I see Ian Hamilton dropping in a comment just now saying, "Evening, pal. I think Scotland have a good chance of qualifying. What are your thoughts? We can beat Norway, but your thoughts, actually." Like the anniversary shot. Thank you, Ian. Nice to hear you, mate. You know what? Scotland, for me, right now, it's a tough one to follow. I've kind of fallen out of love since the return to football on the grounds and the post-COVID era, and Celtic have been firing all cylinders. I've not really been bothered too much about how Scotland do or don't do, and if we qualify or don't qualify. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a massive international football fan, and it bothers me. If we qualify, great, and I think we have got a solid chance. However, I've just been really bored with Scotland the last couple of years. I would like change, and I know people will throw knives at me and shoot me down and say, "Whoa, you qualified us for our first international tournament in years. We've been winning big games. We've been doing well." I know, but I think we could do it with more flair. We have a golden generation of talent here. Arguably, the best squad in my lifetime that Scotland have ever seen over the past, 2 years. And I don't think we've utilised them to the best of their ability. I think that we could play far better football. I think we could be easier in the eye, and I think we could do a lot more. So, you know what? I think we've got a chance, absolutely. And obviously, with players like Callum McGregor in the team, I want to see us succeed. But it's not going to keep me up at night if we don't. Big game against Cyprus, big game against Spain. We'll see how we get on, but my focus is on everybody coming back fit and firing to finish off this season with Celtic. Club football over international football every single day of the week. So yeah, I'm not too fussed how Scotland do overall, but obviously I want us to win. I'm not rooting against us, but it doesn't keep me up at night. I'm not as, I've always looked at it as, and people, this doesn't apply to everybody, but obviously there'll be Celtic and Rangers fans who love the national team as much as they love their club. That's perfectly natural. But I've always looked at the national team as a real kind of, I think that's the opportunity for the guys in the country the guys and girls, I should say, my bad, for the people outside the top two to really get their chance to follow a nation across and abroad, and because they don't get that with, if you're a Motherwell fan, or you go like David Buick, who's a Dunfermline fan, and up and down the country, they don't get the chance to follow their team over Europe, whereas Celtic and Rangers fans do. And I think that's where a lot of these people get their fill for it. So, yeah, we'll see how we get on. But I'm hoping that everybody, all the Celts, give us a good account. They look good for their teams. Really interesting now, obviously, one player that stands out for me, because this is his first international break as a Celtic player. He was good at the World Cup, stood out. Did he? I can't remember now. I can make that up. Because I was confusing him with Cho for a moment there. Che, the one we were first signed with. And but anyway, it'll be interesting to see how he does anyway. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see what everybody's saying in regards to the international break. and see what's happening. Clark would get football stopped. Yes. This is an interesting point. I'm going to come on to this in a minute, Keen. I'm going to bring it back, because that's been a big talking point. So something else, I'm going to get some stuff off my chest. Evening, says Adam, will we keep Hatate and Kyogo over the summer? Yes. I'm confident with Kyogo, yes. Hatate, we'll wait and see. But I'm confident we'll keep Kyogo. If I heard anything about a bad one, we'll come back to it as well, mate. Keep your questions. We'll kind of roll things along after this in a moment and go on. How do you feel about Johnson going to Republic Island? Good on him. Fair play. He was not getting picked for Scotland. He's seen an opportunity. He's taken an opportunity. Quite right. I wish him the best of luck. Hope he performs well for them. And obviously, I like to see the Republic of Ireland do well. So, if he plays well for them, that's great. He's a good talent. Maybe not a guy that's going to make it at Celtic, but that doesn't mean he's not a good footballer. So, we'll see how things get on. Good luck to him in the Ireland squad. I'm looking for, yes, insert the Vanessa clip. So, a couple of things I want to get off my chest. Let's roll this show on, and then we'll just do a general Q&A and talk about a different few things. Couple of points I want to bring up. First one, Keane. Ian, thank you very much. I appreciate it. £5 donation. You're an absolute legend, mate. I need to repay you. The only time I pray for Scotland is when to win is when we play England. Sounds a bit like myself, mate, to be honest. Sounds a bit like myself. I think we're all the same. But thank you for the donation. Let's get to Keane's comment, because this has been a big talking point over the last few days off the back of, I'm not going to use the phrase viral. It wasn't exactly like breaking the internet level, but it went quite wide on Twitter, but in the Celtic Twitterverse anyway. I think it was Ever from Celtic who posted a tweet in regards to season tickets and alternatives to people who maybe don't turn up to games that are season ticket holders, which sparked a big conversation online and a lot of debate as to what should happen with season ticket holders and specifically season ticket holders who don't turn up to games. So Keane has asked, do you personally think the season ticket holders should be able to list their seat up for sale for games they aren't attending? 110% yes. Now, there has been systems put in certain clubs in England where actually, if you don't turn up to a certain amount of games per season and you've not got reasons for that, you will have your season ticket taken off you because of large demand. I think it might have been Brentford in England who, I could be wrong, don't quote me on the team, but just say for talk's sake it was. And they've got a huge stadium, there's a big demand for season tickets. So they've set up this system where you get 5 strikes a season, and if you don't turn up 5 times without having to say, I don't know, if you have a funeral or something, obviously you inform them of that and it won't count. But if you can't make it 5 times, you don't have a viable excuse, you get your season ticket revoked, and it goes to someone who is going to actually go to every game and get fans an opportunity to get into the grounds, which has been put in place, created some controversy. Honestly, I can see why. And I'm not saying Celtic should do that. That's absolutely not what I'm saying off the bat here. But what I'm saying is, I understand it. If there's fans there who are willing to go to games, the priority should be to fill Celtic Park and get as many fans in the stadium as much as possible. However, I do understand if you buy a season ticket and you get a season ticket, it's your right to decide if you want to go to the games or you don't want to go to the games. I get that. But there should absolutely be something in place, as Keane suggests here, for something, an alternative to go there. Like, you can sell yours for a game. Like, if you know you're not going to be at, say, Hibs there at the weekend, if you weren't going to make it, you've got plans, oh shit, can I go to the game? Bugger. Oh well, not going to go. There should be a service online for you to list your season ticket and sell it as a match day ticket for a game. Even if you don't pocket the money off it, which I think is totally fair as well, even if it's just the club selling a ticket to someone else, I think that other people should be allowed the opportunity to go to games. There's no point in reserving seats in a stadium if you're not going to take up that seat. So I'm not saying that you should have your season ticket revoked, but what I am saying is there should be an alternative service in place for people who might not be able to make it in specific weeks. It's a big talking point. I think it's actually been discussed at several AGMs and fan forum meetings, and I think they're trying to come up with alternative programs to season ticket things and exchanges so that people can go to games. It's been a big talking point. Now, the one thing that I don't like is, and you know what, I'm just going to say this, and I'll give an honest opinion. I don't care what you think, really, because I think it's really selfish of people. The people who are getting very high and mighty, we're giving it the whole, it's my ticket, if I don't want to go, I'll not go, blah, 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 like nobody's taking my seat. That's very selfish. I'm not saying you should have your ticket ripped off you, sir. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, to suddenly gatekeep it and protect it, nobody else to sit on it ever, I think is very, very selfish. When there's people out there who are probably dying to go to games and can't get their hands on a ticket. I don't like that. I don't like that attitude at all. I think that there should be an option to give up your seat for a game, a legal way to get, because obviously a lot of clubs are getting very kind of, let's just use the word, I don't know, technical about how you give away your season tickets. Basically, a lot of clubs don't like you do it. You know, you're not meant to give your ticket to someone else. But if there's a legal way to do it, I think we should be allowed to. I think it should be a thing, and I think people shouldn't be gatekeeping their seat if they can't make it a certain week. I don't like that attitude. I don't at all. And that's not me saying that because that everybody else should get to decide what you have with your seat, but people should be allowed the chance to go to football. That's that. So that was the one thing I want to get off my chest. One of the big talking points from the weekend. I want to see some. So obviously, if you've got other questions related to other topics, we'll come on to them in a moment. So keep them in mind. But I want to see what other people are saying in regards to the ticket situation, because I am seeing a few of them. In this day and age, it shouldn't be difficult to implement a method to allow tickets to become available if a season ticket isn't yeah, absolutely, Joe. Oh, sweet Joe, beautiful human being is Joe Allen, the Welsh Shavy. We've got a system within our Celtic supporters club where two of us share a season ticket as we don't go to every game. However, if a non-season ticket member takes your ticket, then you get a small amount back, which is a great system. Yeah, works well on supporters buses like that. You know, people obviously share tickets, and if people aren't turning up, then they'll go, right, okay, somebody can get that this week. To do that on a wider scale in this modern day and age can't be that difficult. Surely it's not that hard to set up a kind of marketplace, if you like, online, where if you're not going to be at a game, you go into the marketplace, you place your ticket up for sale for one game, and then when you can't make it, somebody gets a general sale ticket through their door for your seat. And your season ticket gets voided for that game. You can't use it once you've sold it. It can't be that difficult. I know it sounds a little bit tricky, but with the way that technology's gone, you can do fucking anything. Jesus Christ. You can program fucking Neil Lennon to sit and sing 50 Cent down a microphone, man. That's AI does everything nowadays. So come on, surely to Christ. Yeah. An Italian viewer. Hello, ciao. Nice to see you. Giancarlo Curati. Giancarlo, nice to see you, mate. Palm have sacked the manager. They haven't named Ange the replacement, so we can stay happy. Yes, ciao. Thank you. No Ange to Italy. Arrivederci, Italy. Arrivederci, Parma. The amount of times I've been wanting to go to a game but can't because of an apparent sellout, but then you see, yeah, exactly. There was at least, 1,000 empty seats at Hibs at the weekend. At least. Probably far more than that. Because season ticket holders don't want to go to games. I think you should get, you should be able to give people the chance. And listen, I don't think that there has to be arrogance on either side. There's arrogant supporters on the side of you should be doing this. Then there's arrogant supporters on the side that are like, no, I don't want to do that. There's arrogance on both sides. I think it's so easy in this situation, in this example of Celtic fandom, to come together and make a decision that suits everybody. I don't think it's that difficult, but some people are just so touchy. So yeah. Yeah, so most people I know give their tickets away to their pals for the game if they can't go, and with a system less be feasibly operable. I still think so. If you want to give it to your pal, give it to your pal. There's nothing stopping that from happening. But if you don't have anyone to give it to, then, as I said, there surely can be a marketplace option available where you can post your ticket. I don't think it really changes much, but yeah, anyway. So that was one thing I wanted to get off my chest. The other thing I wanted to get off my fucking chest, and I'm going to do it right now, and I'm going to make it short and sweet, because who knows, maybe if I'm bored and I don't have content for the next couple of weeks, I can do a video on this. What is with this whole fucking Martin O'Neill and Ange thing? Oh, geez, peace. Give a fucking break, man. Oh, how many of the current Celtic team? None! There's your at none, fucking probably. But why are people making such a big deal out of it and fucking arguing about it? Who cares? Two different teams in two different eras. And to be honest, recency bias is very real and very dangerous. Let's be fucking real. How many of the current team get in? Probably none. This is a Celtic side who went to the UEFA Cup final. Very nearly beat Porto, who went on to win the Champions League. They won trebles in one of the most, if not the most competitive era of Scottish football, in recent history anyway. And yet we're sitting disputing whether or not fucking... It pisses me off, man. It really annoys me. I hate recency bias. I hate it with a passion. I was not old enough to watch the Martin O'Neill era, but I can understand how good a bloody team that was. There is a couple of guys in this current team, right, who would definitely have a shout at being in and around the squad. We've got great players now, talented players, very, very good players, but come on. Geez, peace. Just what we don't need. Do you know what? I don't mind a little bit of healthy conversation, a bit of fun. It's fun. You know what I mean? But there's people going to war. There's people actually going to war on Twitter about how many players we get into each team and what team's better. Just enjoy them, man. Like, jeez, I don't care. I don't. But I might make a video on it anyway. Yeah. A lot of people still talking about the ticket situation. And I really like that because it shows a lot of opinions. And I really do. I really do like it. Like, for example, Jim here. Can't afford a season ticket. Fair enough. They're fucking extortionate. Paying for a season ticket is, you know, if you've got kids to feed and you've got a house to pay, bills to pay, season ticket's the last thing on your agenda. You know, that's at the bottom of the pile. 600 quid. And if you're not paying it monthly, that's a lot to come out your fucking... And even that's a lot to come out a month. People can't afford season tickets, and they're still getting a chance of single games taken away from them because they can't get a ticket. So yeah, it's a really good point, Jim. Really good point. Yeah, now a lot of comments coming in about the stuff about the two teams. Yeah, exactly, John. The Rodgers team is getting a lot of disrespect because of recency bias. This team is amazing. I love it. It's maybe the most fun that I've had watching Celtic. But to suddenly then start saying that they're better than every team I've ever had is like, whoa, calm, whoa. Well, it's only 2 years, right? We'll fucking wait and see. Yeah, generation apart, own respect, exactly. Like, there was a whole thing on Twitter yesterday with some people saying about, you know, how, like, players from the 60s and 70s and all that would get absolutely tanned nowadays. Of course they fucking would. Obviously. It was a different time. But, you know, you put these guys into the modern era, they're obviously going to be different players. They're going to have different facilities and different science around them. That suddenly doesn't mean they can't play football. Like, it's nonsense. It pisses me off. If you've watched this channel long enough, right, you'll know how passionate I am about it because it winds me up when people... say the 1967 side would get spanked nowadays. Of course. Right, of course. If you were going the fucking DeLorean and drag them through one at a time, of course they would. But if you suddenly put Billy McNeil, Bertie Auld, Bobby Lennox and all these players into a modern society, they're going to be world class because they were incredible footballers for their time. And you give them all of that sort of modern footballing around them, they're obviously going to be unbelievable. But people are like, oh no, they're shite. Oh, geez, peace. Does my nut in. It honestly does my box in. I've always said, just enjoy it, love it. You're a Celtic fan. You don't need to start fucking saying some can't play for it. Annoys me. Anyway, right, I've actually went a lot longer than I intended to tonight. This is like a fucking podcast at this rate. So I want to come to you guys. I want to get, like, what's this? Cal said, went on TikTok last night to see people say comparing Hatate Larson. You know what I mean? Nonsense. Fucking nonsense. Like, it's just, it is. I love Rio Hatate. He's fucking class. But Jesus Christ. It's frustrating. I'm not going to lie to you, mate. Probably very slim chance. Just keep your eye out on Twitter is all I can say. That's literally the only advice I could give you. That. Right. Okay. Let's move things on a little bit and blah blah blah. Let's get your guys' questions, your guys' thoughts for 5 or so minutes and end off the stream. It's been really fun tonight. I've enjoyed that. I've really liked it. And you know what? That's the good thing about these international breaks because I think doing these kind of streams a lot more often fills the gap and we can just talk about things like this. I wouldn't necessarily dedicate a 10-minute video to what we just spoke about there with the ticket situation and that. But when you can have a live conversation about it to fill the void of Celtic, it's great. I love it. So let's get some questions. Let's get some of your points. Kaiser said, this is the best footballing side I've ever seen with the most depth. In the past, we have had better players in singularity, but not this overall extent, in my opinion. See, that's a fair enough opinion. That's absolutely, I think you're allowed to think that. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but it's more the problem of, like, you know, people starting to say, you know, oh, people are in the past, aren't they as good as this and stuff like that because of recency bias. But yeah, in terms of depth, it's the best I can remember in a long time. I'll tell you that for nothing, Kaiser. Let's get some of your things up. Let's go. Abada, your thoughts, Ryan. So, Abada, so the Avi Luzon, the head honcho at Maccabi Petah Tikva, insists that Abada has his future set on a move away from Celtic down south, which is no shock to me whatsoever. I don't think there's any reading to do into it. It's obvious that was always going to be the case for any foreign player coming to Celtic. The end-all be-all is not playing for Celtic. So my thoughts are simple. He's here to do a job for as long as he's needed, and when he moves on, he moves on. And when he does move on, I'll happily watch him go, and I wish him the best, wherever that may be. So yes. Oh, good question, Ian. Could you ask your dad, who would have won a European tie between the 67 team and the United of the 68? Do you know what? If I could be bothered shouting at him, I'd ask him that live. Ian, next time I'm streaming, ask me that question, because that's a good one. My dad will definitely say the Lisbon Lions, but that's a good question. I like that. Got to ask him that. My dad always goes on about Celtic beating like Real Madrid back in for the Di Stefano game and all the rest of it. So I know where his heart was set, but my dad is always like United as well. He was a big fan of Dennis Law. Dennis Law, one of my dad's favourite players. So it would be a good conversation to have with my dad. We'll get him on. Let's see. A lot of stuff about the questions and stuff. Ryan, thoughts on people saying Kyogo over Eddie and Dembele? I personally think it's recency bias, to be honest. Those two were 20 and tore up the league. That's one that I think has a lot more genuine debate to it, though. I think there is a case to be made that Kyogo's been the best one that we've had out of the three because he's been so good. I know age has a big part in it, and maybe that means that the ceiling was a lot higher for Dembele and Edouard, but in terms of what they've done at Celtic, I think there's still a genuine argument to be made that Kyogo's been the best out of the three. That's one that we're going to do a full podcast about in the summer, because I've got this idea, and hear me out now. You know how we always have this best since Larsson thing that everybody always, Kyogo's the best since Larsson, Dembele's the best since Larsson. I'm going to get this big board, and I'm going to print out every single striker who's played for Celtic since Henrik Larsson left the club, and we're going to rank them from worst to best, and we're going to see who the best since Larsson actually is. So keep your eyes out in the summer. We're going to do that. Let's see. What other questions have we got tonight? I'm loving this, to be fair. It's good. Ryan, where'd you get that Black Celtic Umbro half sip you have? I need it. Honestly, Lewis, I'm not gatekeeping from you. I don't think the page that I got it off exists anymore. I got it off Instagram. It's a remake. It's not an original. And I think the guy's out of business. So it's one of those ones that if you look about all these kind of remake pages, if you want to just call it fakes, you can call it fakes. You'll probably come across it at one point. I promise I'm not gatekeeping, Lewis. But I genuinely think that the guy is out of business now. I got it a couple of years ago, so if I ever come across it, I'll put it on Twitter or something like that. Let's see. Where was Abada before he came to Celtic? Gave him the biggest games he could ever wish for, scoring in Glasgow derbies, competing in Champions League just to not buy a contract and chase a move. To be honest, Mark, it's what Celtic is, isn't it? Sadly, it is that we are a stepping stone club. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. I've never really been fussed about players coming here and then chasing a move elsewhere, because it's a reality that I've sadly accepted. I'm not saying I'm glad we've accepted it, but it's just one that we have to. So I can understand frustrations, but this is all. Liam Abada is apparently not back a contract, right? But he's only 2 years into a 5-year deal. He doesn't need to sign a contract right now. So yeah, I don't know. We'll wait and see. What else have we got? Watching the new fourth top, waiting on mine to be delivered. But I like it. I do. I actually really like it. I was a bit bored by it at first, but I like it. I do like it. So I'm waiting for it to come in the post just now. I think it'll be here tomorrow. So if I have it on tomorrow, then you'll know it's came. Do I think Hatate will be fit for the 8th? Don't know, mate. We'll need to wait and see the fitness update. I've not really heard much yet. It didn't look awful serious. He went off the park walking. So I'm hoping he'll be fine, but we just need to wait and see, mate. I don't know. Not spoke to Anish, so yeah. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there because that's half an hour, which is actually a lot longer than I planned to go on this evening. But thank you all so much. It was a really fun one tonight. And if you enjoy these throughout the international break, these sort of streams, and we can talk about wee kind of niche things that I normally wouldn't in a video, then let me know. I'll happily do far more of them, and I'll happily do them all the way throughout. A lot of people asking about the Liverpool friendly. I forgot to answer that. I could have went. I got offered press. And I just can't afford to go to Liverpool at the minute. You know how much it is to get a bus and a train to Liverpool? Fucking extortionate. So I can't afford it. I'm paying to go to WrestleMania next year in Philadelphia. I'm paying to go to Belgium for the F1. I've got a summer holiday. I've got all these trips to pay for. Liverpool was the last thing on my mind. But we'll talk about that throughout the week. More of these streams. We'll definitely do them. Tomorrow we'll probably have a video or something like that. But yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good Monday night. Have a good week. Ah, bosh. That shouldn't have ended.